Hello and welcome back to Tinker Talks Guns. Welcome to our second content video, where you'll be able to look at my smiling face throughout the video. I'll leave it up to you whether that's a good thing or not. So, what we're looking at today is the Ruger SR9, a service type 9mm polymer frame semi-automatic striker-fired pistol with a 17-round magazine. Very similar to every other service-sized polymer striker-fired gun in the world. It does have a few unique features. Let's get started. In 2007, this gun was introduced by Ruger, and I remember getting a look at one and being really impressed with the ergonomics. It feels really good in the hand, points very naturally. But I was not in the market for a service-type handgun, so I never got one. Then I ran across this one at McAllen Defense. That is not a paid advertisement. And the price was remarkably good, and it came with a spare magazine. How could I say no? So, let's start with features like unloading. To remove the magazine, you can use the ambidextrous magazine. If you press it in from either side, it drops the magazines. That is freaking wonderful. I love that. Next, of course, back the slide, lock it back. So you can see, no magazine, no bullet in the hole, and I'm not pointing it at my head. So, to start, it's very Glock-like in a lot of ways. It has a Glock-style trigger, where when the gun cycles, it actually catches the striker in the half-cocked position, so that you only have half of a double-action trigger pull to fire it. And it has a magazine safety, so again, just like a Glock, you have to pull the trigger to fully cock the striker and then it releases it. It also has the Glock safe trigger type feature, which has been around since the 1890s, so no, it's not really a Glock thing, but that's what we know it from. And basically, you can carry it and run it just like a Glock, except it has a manual safety, which some people like, a lot of people don't. The manual safety is very, very positive, very easy to use, but it's not big enough to really ride with your thumb like you would on a 1911. It's just not quite there. Features, you have a nice flat back strap. I love the shape of the grip and the angle. It feels very much like a 1911, which I've shot a lot of, so naturally it feels good to me. You can pop a pin out here, remove the back strap, flip it over, and put it back in to have a curved back strap kind of bow out. A lot of people don't like that because it's only about a half-inch wide. It's not the full width of the gun, and people seem to find that uncomfortable. Of course, we have the obligatory rail underneath the front for a weapon slide or a laser or both. In 2007, there is no optics cut, but it does come with really nice sights. They're 3-dot sights, very, very good visibility on them, and the rear sight is adjustable for elevation. And of course the front sight can be drifted for that. So you can dial the gun in pretty well to whatever load you're using. And I'm not going to dismantle the gun for you because frankly there's plenty of YouTube videos how to do that. It's not a new gun. I will tell you this, it's not quite as easy as a Glock, but it's pretty easy. So that's the basics of the gun right there. And what we're going to do is show you some video of me shooting it, which will look a lot like that guy shooting a pistol, but it can at least show you, that it works, and how the recoil is, how manageable it is, things like that. And we're going to cut away to that and then come back in just a minute. So, oh, and I was going to do a voiceover on the video, but I discovered I don't actually have a microphone that isn't attached to a camera. So I'm going to try and put a text scroll in the editing. So here's the shooting footage. So, my impressions of shooting the gun. It's really pretty nice. I mean, yes, it's a basic service gun, but it's pretty nice for a basic service gun. The trigger, very Glock-like, but I think it's actually a little better than most Glock stock triggers I've fired. The low bore axis gives you very good control of the gun. It's very nice to fire quickly and accurately. It's just a really nice gun to shoot. And it has been, over the course of about 200 rounds, has been 100% reliable. And that included 5 different kinds of ammunition, 3 of them hollow points. I shot 1 15 grain, 1 35 grain, and 1 47 grain hollow points, and it just ran everything. It does have an interesting feature that you will notice immediately when you chamber a round, and that is the full chamber indicator. It is really conspicuous. I'm not sure it's necessary, I'm not sure I like it, but it's not in the way, it's not hurting anything. So that's just a quibble, I guess, but it's weirdly prominent. So, other than that, if you really like Glocks that have something like a Glock, except it has a manual safety, this would be a really good one to look into. And it's just an impression, but I don't gather that these guns were extremely popular. And it's hard to put your finger on why, because it's a marvelous gun. I suspect that in 2007, the issue was that it is a no frills. Well, it actually does have a couple frills, but basically, it's just basically a really nice, really competent service pistol. That isn't a Glock. Because by 2007, Glock had a pretty good stranglehold on this segment. And as I say, there's nothing wrong with the design. The SR9 seems to be a fine pistol. But that's not enough when someone has the kind of lock on the market that Glock has. And had then. So the thing is it's a good pistol. It obviously sold well enough that they followed it up with other models, probably improving as they go along. And now they're on the market, and they're really sometimes surprisingly inexpensive. Mine was a rather exceptional deal. I paid $200 for the gun with 2 magazines, which I forgot to mention. These are Mekar magazines, and they're actually very nicely made, very solid, very high quality. So, A+ on those too. So, a very fine gun that is not a Glock, and might be able to be found at a bargain price. And I think you should. That's all the good news. And that's a text, but I'll get that later. That's the good news. There is bad news. But I believe it is bad news for this specific pistol only. Because I looked online, I searched, I could not find anyone else complaining of the issue that this gun is suffering from. And this gun suffers from keyholing. Bullets are hitting the target sideways, even as close as 5 yards. And at first I thought it was the cheap range ammo. It wasn't. It did it with every single type of ammunition I put through it, which was 5 or 6 different kinds. And so, there you have the bad news. They're not all going to be perfect. But there's good news with the bad news, because Ruger's customer service is outstanding. So I'm going to contact Ruger, explain the problem, and see what they'd like me to do. And what I'm pretty sure they'll like me to do, based on their past performance, is they'll want me to send them the gun, and they'll fix it and send it back. They're very good that way. Whatever they decide to do, you'll find out, because I'm going to tell you. I'll keep you notified. So, Ruger SR9, much good, nothing really bad, and I like it quite a lot. Anyway, that's it for this time. Take care and stay safe.